Russia and Ukraine have exchanged a large number of prisoners of war in a deal brokered by the United Arab Emirates. The two sides have each released 115 captives. These pictures are from Ukraine's Office of the Ombudsman. It's the first exchange of its kind since Kyiv launched its offensive in Russia this month. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the UAE for mediating. It also comes as Ukraine celebrates independence. Zelensky began the day by paying respects to troops who died in the war with the Soviets. He vowed retribution against Moscow as Kyiv's forces occupy parts of Russia's own territory in the Kursk region. Earlier, Zelensky published a video address that he said was recorded in the border area where Kyiv launched its surprise incursion into Russia. Let's listen in.
Whatever the enemy was bringing to our land has now returned to their home. And those who wanted to turn our land into a buffer zone should think about preventing their country from becoming a buffer federation. Our enemy will also know what Ukrainian retaliation is: worthy, symmetrical, long-ranged. They will know that sooner or later, a Ukrainian response will reach any point in the Russian Federation that is a source of danger to our state and our people. We will not allow them to turn our land into a grey zone where the blue and yellow flag rightly belongs. A sick old man from the red square, who constantly threatens everyone with the red button, will not dictate any of his red lines to us. Only Ukraine and Ukrainians will determine how we live, what path we take, and what choices we make. Because this is how independence works.
Our Kyiv correspondent Sonia Falnica told me more about this prisoner swap.
Well, President Zelensky has confirmed that 115 Ukrainian soldiers have been brought back from Russian captivity. As you said there, the Office of the Ombudsman has published this video showing them draped in the Ukrainian flag, singing the anthem. The media here has been saying they include soldiers from the Navy, from the armed forces, as well as from the state border service. And of course, this is very symbolic as it comes on a day when Ukraine is marking Independence Day. It's marking 33 years of its independence from the Soviet Union. And this is the first such prisoner swap that has been carried out since Ukraine launched that surprise incursion into Russia's Kursk region earlier this month. It said it had captured several hundred Russian soldiers as well as conscript border guards. And President Zelensky had been saying that this would, kind of replenish the exchange fund and strengthen Ukraine's hand when it came to kind of these prisoner exchange negotiations with Moscow. Now, we know that there are about more than 8,000 Ukrainian soldiers who are believed to be held in Russian captivity. And human rights groups here say that they are subjected to systematic torture and abuse.
And Ukraine is marking its third Independence Day. Ironically, since Russia's full-scale invasion, Russia still occupying so much of Ukraine's territory.
Well, they're very muted celebrations here, Ben. No parades, no major events. And as in previous years, there are concerns around heightened, the risk of Russian attacks. German and US officials have warned that there is a risk of increased rocket attacks, especially on Kyiv, around this holiday. Now, we've seen a few heads of state visiting Kyiv today, the President of Poland, the Prime Minister of Lithuania, US President Joe Biden, whose country, of course, is Ukraine's main military backer. He has announced a new military aid package for Ukraine worth $125 million on the eve of Independence Day.
DW Sonia Falnica in Kyiv for us. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date. Well, as Ukrainian forces advance deeper into Russia's Kursk region, Ukrainian civilians living along the border were expecting some respite. The Russian troops attacking them with drones and artillery for the past 2 years are now farther away, which could mean fewer attacks inside Ukraine. Our correspondent Nick Connolly visited a Ukrainian community near the Russian frontier to see if the hope of increased safety has been realized.
Last year, 2 women were sitting on that bench over there. A shell hit just by their feet and killed them.
Driving around Bilopilia with the mayor, it's hard to find a street without a story like this.
Those are the changing rooms of the sports ground, and that's the police station. It's hard to keep track of what happened and when. You remember what happened yesterday, the day before even. But when you've been through it 20, 30, even 40 times, you just lose track.
You might think flower beds would be the last of people's worries in a town like this, but Yuri is convinced they're vital. Belopilia's residents need something to look at, he says, something that's not a ruin. But even in their gardening, municipal workers have to be mindful of unexpected reactions.
The lawns, the bushes, they're all a mess. It's all because we barely get the trimmers and the mowers out anymore. They make the same sound as the Shahed drones. People hear them and panic. Other times, when it's a real attack, the noise from the mowers stops people hearing the incoming fire.
That incoming fire doesn't have to be a direct hit. Often the blast wave or a piece of shrapnel is enough to do significant damage. After the air raid siren, Yuri's phone runs hot. There's information coming in from the military, as well as from residents close to the border. It's his job to keep everyone informed via the town's Telegram channel.
A glide bomb has been spotted on the Russian side of the border. We've also had drones headed towards Bilopilia. Normally we might get a 40-second warning. Either it'll come in soon and explode, or it'll keep going. Sometimes they change directions at the last moment.
We move a bit closer to the exit to better understand what's going on.
Just a minute ago, the mayor sitting next to me here got a message that 2 people have been wounded, 2 civilians been wounded by the glide bomb explosions that we heard just a few minutes ago. It's a couple of kilometers down the road. There's been reports of 1 person lying injured on the street.
As we arrive on this residential street, we're told that 2 wounded passers-by have already been taken to hospital. Luckily, these houses were empty. Just a few meters further, and the result would have been very different. Serhiy lives just next door. He's still in shock and angry.
When the bomb came in, no one even bothered to come round to ours and check if we were dead or alive. They were just standing over there, staring at the crater. Do you get it? Do you get why I'm angry?
Serhiy tells us it's not their first close shave. Just 2 months ago, Grad missiles hit their street. And he's a lot less optimistic than his town's mayor. He and his wife don't want to take another chance.
We'll just get out and think what to do next. No one's going to rebuild all this now, if ever.
We have to leave. More glide bombs are on the way.